You know, when I'm out here and the fish I mark on the outside are suspended, you know, the bait that I pretty much go with would be the 250. And the 250 obviously is going to sink a little slower and have a little different action. So what I'm going to do, if I do come across those suspended fish, is pretty much, I got to know my depth, you know, so I'm throwing in like 30 feet. These fish seem to be suspended in about 20 to 25 feet, just off the bottom, just off some structures. And you got to sort of know what the rate of fall is on your bait. But what I like to do is I like to go ahead and just let it go all the way to the bottom and then go ahead and bring it up from there. Like the 250 will come up immediately because your line still is a little like this. So now you're going to be in that, right now I'm probably in that 20 to 25 foot mark in that 30 feet. And I'm just going to roll through them pretty slowly and see if I can't get them to go. And if I can't get them to go in a certain direction like this, you know, then I'm going to go upwind and maybe get a longer shot at them if there's some kind of little drop around the edge. Or I might even just go outside and throw in on them and bring it off from the shallow. But I have to try everything. You know, that's pretty much the best way to approach them when they're suspended like that. Because you got to figure out what angle they want to feed, you know. And some of them like it on the fall. And I like to keep my line a little bit on the tighter side so I can see that slack in it. You know, there's just a little bow in that line, especially from the wind. And you watch it sink and keep an eye on it and you'll just see something like that happen, you know. Just a little twitch in the line and you need to swing. They're not going to hold on to it very long. I like to get it down there. You know, it takes longer. Obviously, there it is now. I'm on the bottom. Give it a pop, and that makes it like scoot up. And just go ahead and give it a nice smooth retrieve. Maybe go ahead and give it some more pops. The farther cast you make and the more line you have out, the farther the bait's going to glide when you pause it, because there's no restriction. You know, so you give it one of those and that thing probably shot off about 4 or 5 feet, and you just work it that way, and it's just going to be a tick, you know. I work this bait on the bottom the same way. I'll let it keep going to the bottom and just giving it a tug and letting it shoot off to the side, let it sink down, let it hit again, because it's gliding. You know, give it a couple of winds, give it a pop again, and just let it go ahead and start to just glide and settle down. And a lot of times those fish that aren't really active will eat that bait like that, you know, very effective. But that's pretty much how I would approach the suspended fish. You know, if they were in the upper water column, you know, you see stuff popping out there and it's probably in 10 feet. It's near the surface and you're in 30. I would just let it sink maybe 5 or 6 feet and then just go ahead, give it a nice little shoot off to the side and just give it a straight wind in, see what happens. But you gotta, it's like anything else, you know, whether you're fishing a jig or spinnerbait, there's so many different ways to work every lure that just because it's a swim bait doesn't mean you just cast it out and reel it in, you know. You have to do some different things with it to figure out what the bite's gonna be. And, you know, very seldom do you have a day when you get 20 fish on a big swim bait. It doesn't happen that often, you know. But if you can get, you know, 5 in a day or 3, I consider that a pretty good day. You know, I have had my 20 fish days, you know, when they're just crazy for it. But you're gonna have to take your lumps and bumps when you're throwing something 10 inches on a lake. That's for sure, versus an A-rig or, you know, something much smaller. But the bites you get are going to be bigger. You know, you're going to weed out all those 12-inch, 15-inch fish. And, you know, if you're looking for a trophy bass or a PB, you put your time in for a year and you listen to what's said, and you're going to get them.